Toboli mythical ancestors once lived as farmers on the land, planting, harvesting, weaving. As their time came to an end, each ancestor transformed into something from the natural world, the elements, plants, or creatures of the wild. In this form, each ancestor sought to be the guardian for the Toboli world. The last living ancestor was Dalu, the weaver of cloth, the maker of clothes, who entered the very trees that provided the thread for her beautiful cloth. She is the spirit of the NALAK.
That's a instrumental side. Slowdai, that's made in bamboo. Instrumental.
Toboli women make tinalak, a cloth woven from the fibers of an abaca. Traditionally, only women of royal blood are allowed to weave the tinalak. The tradition is handed down from mother to daughter, aunt to niece. The patterns, which number in the thousands, are all memorized. All tinalak, whether by novice or master, begins the same way. Before cutting the plant, the Toboli offer a token and a prayer to the guardian, Dalu. Although women conceive and weave the designs, men play an important part in the weaving process. They gather the raw material, in this case, the strong yet supple fibers from within the abaca tree. Strips in hand, he returns to the workshop to prepare the raw fibers. Original Toboli houses were built 15 feet above the ground to discourage unfriendly neighbors. The Toboli workshop is located under the first floor of the house. Pinching the raw strips between two metal blades, he removes the pulp and liquid, leaving only the fibers. Accomplished weavers sometimes dream of Dalu, who comes to inspire intricate patterns, or sometimes admonish poor workmanship. She is always recognized by her long white tresses. The next step, called kemusang, is when the fiber is worked firmly by hand to split the material into finer threads. Later, during semwot, the fiber is combed to remove the split ends. Inside the house, the best fibers are hand-selected and connected end to end in one long thread. This process is called tembong. Tinalak fabrics are dyed in natural pigments, a manner similar to tie-dyeing, also known throughout Southeast Asia as ikat. Semowi means to put the fiber on a frame to prepare for knotting. The warp or lengthwise threads are measured and organized on a frame.
Balit awal. Sakla anduk ni nga. Wa.
Only in the last steps are they woven together with the crosswise or weft threads. Threads that will be dyed in similar patterns are first grouped together. This process is called muibud, the Tiboli word for knotting or tying. A young apprentice will often learn this as their first step in becoming a weaver. Fibers tied, it is called the bud. It is now ready for dyeing. Hemitem means to dye the fabric black. The black dye, or kinalum, is produced from the leaves of the kinalum tree. The bud is then boiled for weeks until the black dye is completely absorbed. More than just a textile, NALAK is a sacred weave. Tiboli folklorist Myrna Pula explains the fabric's significance.
It is sacred because whenever we promise to celebrate the festival called Moninum, a piece of tinalak is exchanged to a bolo for a couple to promise or vow to celebrate the Moninum festival. So that's how it is sacred. Secondly, we use tinalak for blanket. We use it to buy also food. Weavers will exchange food to the farmers. And then we also use that for dories. Then we use for skirt for women and pants for men. We use that shirt. Yeah. Yeah.
So that the tinalak fibers absorb the red dye, the Tiboli burn shells to an ashy state, mix it with water, and soak the fibers in this lime solution. The second dye process is hemulo, in which the red loco root is scraped and boiled with the fiber. A fire table, simply a shallow box filled with sand and stone, enables the Tiboli to have a fire indoors over split bamboo floor, providing both heat and light. The red dye takes only a few days compared to the initial black dye. There are many taboos associated with weaving. One taboo forbids a wife from sleeping with her husband while weaving a particular pattern. Some weavers claim to become ill if they refuse to weave a pattern bestowed by Dalu in a dream. Once the dyeing is complete, it is ready for assembly on the backstrap loom, locally called logongong. A single black thread, the weft, is then woven tightly into the fabric. If work is uninterrupted, each fabric takes well over a month to complete. Abaca fabric was once made by many people throughout the southern Philippines and was even demanded as a tax. Today, only a few people produce it, of which the Taboli are the undisputed masters. Finally, the tinalak is ironed with a large cowrie shell. Attached to a bamboo lever from the ceiling, the increased pressure and friction burnishes the fibers. For additional softening, the Taboli add a nut oil called bayou. The tinalak is finished. In Taboli designs, white forms the pattern, red the relief, and black the background. The black is actually a chestnut brown. Certain patterns recall myths and stories. Some are representational. Many defy literal explanation. Some patterns are variations on established themes. Nevertheless, each and every piece is unique. The art may be lost. After World War II, the federal government in Manila gave away Taboli land to immigrants. Today, the Taboli must rely on income for subsistence.
Our means of livelihood. Without this, we all die because we have no land to till. We have no. We are sending a word that if ever you help us, make it quick.
They hope to find people to buy tinalak soon. Until then, mothers and daughters, young and old, continue their sacred art, one thread at a time.
Sludai, that's a instrumental side. Sludai, that's made in bamboo. Instrumental.
Taboli